Greetings, chat. Are you having fun? I hope not. Because I can make you have fun if you're not. If you're already having fun, how can I make you have fun? So, it's been a very interesting news cycle today. Many things have developed, and we're going to go through most of them. For example, the Anheuser-Busch, the beer company of Bud Light, has apologized. They cook it. They cook it. Although I wouldn't say it's an actual default apology due to the very high levels of corporate speak, which probably doesn't resonate well with their user base. You're not talking to corporate individuals. You're talking to, how do the Americans call them? Rednecks, right? Like you're talking to people who work in the field and their sun is scorching the back of their neck, causing it to be red. Those people don't really appreciate when you talk to them like an HR lady. They want you to talk to them direct to the point, explain to them what happened and what you're going to do about it. They don't like it when you're like, oh, well, we are trying to create a unified... No. So, yeah, never apologize even if you're a beer. This is going to upset people on the left and the right, of course. People on the right are going to be upset because the apology is too corporate, doesn't address anything. People on the left are going to be upset because they apologized. So, probably worse. Apparently, they lost $5 billion in stock. Not good. So that happened. Then we have a controversy regarding Moana, the Disney thingy. They're casting a white actress, and in the cartoon, she's more dark-skinned. All of a sudden, color matters. A lot of very racist left-wing people, they brought up their 23andMe test. They brought up the pedigree. And they're like, well, the genetics aren't right. They don't fit. Right? So we got that. What else do we have? We have the Mr. Beast controversy, which we're going to go and talk about it. I always like making a happy emoji when I'm talking about Mr. Beast, because there's a friend of mine which really doesn't like Mr. Beast. I don't know why, because I don't watch Mr. Beast's channel. Like, I generally don't even know what type of content Mr. Beast is putting out. I like upsetting my friend who doesn't like him. And I'm like, well, if you don't like him, then I like him a lot. I don't watch his cut, but I love Mr. Beast. Big fan. I'm like Kai Drakai when he sees my stream. Trey Daniel, welcome to the show. I see you there. Mr. Bish. Man, I actually feel for the guy because he is trapped between a rock and a hard place, as you would say it. I'm going to discuss about why that happened. Let's see if I can find it. I love, someone told me, right-wing idiots boycotting companies is actually the funniest stuff I have ever seen. Do you not know that Bud Light is already going up in stock? And I'm like, well, don't you have any VTubers to harass over playing Hogwarts? Like, don't you have anything better to do than be on my timeline, basically? Mr. Beast. Controversy. The man can't catch any break, by the way. And this is due to the fact that when he is donating money, like he is helping blind people and shit, leftists attack him on Twitter. The same leftists that are like, oh, rich people need to do more. And when a rich person does it, it's like, well, not like that. Trying to find out. Apparently, Mr. Beast did a joke about 52 genders in the past. Like, this is another interesting thing, right? All of this controversy, which I can't find it anywhere in the press. Like, it's all over on Twitter, it's trending, but even the press is like, nah, man, we're not touching that shit. We're not touching that shit with a 10-foot pole. We're not discussing it. It doesn't happen. It's not there. People are not interested. We got other things to talk about, right? So, people are looking into both Mr. Beast and the transgender individual, and they're finding interesting things. Like, for example, Mr. Beast made fun of 52 genders, and the transgender individual does seem to be what you would call a lolly aficionado. You know, it's just coming up. Like, the logs are coming up, and It's what happens when you're in the spotlight. Like, it can happen to any celebrity. Usually, it's why journalists don't want to be the news, they want to make the news, right? And it's true for YouTubers as well. You don't want to be in the public spotlight because we live in a society where things that you say 10 years ago can come up to bite you. And it looks bad, like if you make a joke once, let's say you make a sexist joke in 2016, right? And you make another sexist joke in 2018, and then you make a sexist joke in 2020. Well, what they do is like they go through your timeline, they find all three sexist jokes, and they put them one next to another. And when people look at it on a page, when you have like all these sexist jokes put together, it looks really bad. It makes you look like a sexist. Right? This is one of the tactics that I have seen left-wing people use, and it's very efficient at destroying someone's reputation. It's like what they did to Joe Rogan. So Joe Rogan said the N-word a couple of times over the years. Like, take into account he's got hundreds of hours worth of footage. I mean, Joe Rogan, if you were to start watching his first podcast and you would try to watch until the last, you probably have to stay a couple of weeks to go through all of it. But he did say the N-word a couple of times, and usually it was in acceptable context. Well, actually, every single time it was in acceptable context. It was like, oh, this guy got fired because he said the word, right? And he would say it. This person got suspended from social media because he said the word. So, like, he said the word, I think, like 5 or 6 times, and then someone made a compilation audio with him just saying the word over and over, made him look like a racist. So it's very effective at destroying someone's reputation. Mr. Beast is demonic? Is he? Like, what exactly is he doing that's so bad? Like, legit question. I do not follow Mr. Beast. I do not know what he is doing. Like, please inform me of his content. All I know is that he got in the news for healing blind people. What else did he do? Gave a car to a waitress. And I think like he did a couple more charity work. I know that he is on a company that also has Asmongold, Pokimane, and a couple of other celebrities. Like almost every night, one of these celebrities is trending on YouTube, and the company is heavily invested into ESG, right? So you have like Asmongold, you have Pokimane, a couple of others, Mr. Beast, one of them, and they're very tied to ESG-oriented stuff. I don't know how much pull they have over the content that people like Mr. Beast are putting out, but I assume they must have some editorial guidance. And that was like just by doing a surface level check, like it's public information. Let me see if I can have it, and I'll tell you exactly what we're talking about. Because many people don't know, but like you can search it on Google. Like it's not something hidden. It's not a conspiracy or anything. It's public knowledge. These are public records. Records le public. So let me check it out. Give me a second so I can find where I saved the thing, and I'll read it to you. Alright, I'll not show it on screen, but I will read it. How about that? I'll have to listen to what I say for a second. Here we go. So, Asmongold and Mr. Beast belong to the same talent agency, and that they are both directly connected to Disney and Amazon. So the company name is Night Media. Feel free to Google it. Night Media manages basically every single Zoomer e-celebrity, including Hassan Piker, Mekolul, Dream, and these guys. If you ever look at the YouTube trending tab, at least one of Night's talents will be up there. Night Media is just a subsidiary at Night Incorporated. It is valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars from venture capitalists and angel investors. So who owns Night Media? The CEO of Night Media is Reed Dushner, who formerly worked for NFL and went on Dude Perfect's manager. The president of Night Incorporated is Ezra Kupperstein, who was previously the president of Fullscreen and Rooster Teeth, as well as Maker Studios, which is now part of the Disney Digital Network. Disney acquired Maker in 2014 but did not merge them until 2017. Ironically, neither of these guys are the real talent managers, as the position is for their 90-plus employees, including Andrew Pelosi, a former higher-up at Influential. So what is Influential? Influential is an AI social data and conversion technology, as well as developer partner of IBM Watson and Facebook marketing partner, utilizing a network of over 1 million social media influencers as a tactic for distribution. Influential runs both native and paid campaigns on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and YouTube for Fortune 500 brands. Influential is owned by Jeremy Steinberg. Knight Incorporated is directly financed by the Chairman Group, also known TCG, one of its executive members being Alexandra Moore, a former executive from Amazon who focuses on mergers and acquisitions. However, TCG itself is financed Providence Equity, an ESG-compliant private equity investment firm, which is valued at over $30 billion. I think it's billion, or 3 trillion. I don't know. All of this information is freely available, and you can look at it in LinkedIn and read business articles. So, basically, this doesn't really tell me much. And this is due to the fact that almost every single company is ESG compliant. Almost every single, talent that's popular might have an agency. But the question is, like, the managers, right? Like, the editorial decisions. No. Like, these YouTubers are not normies, but left-leaning. They're different. Like, that's the thing. Like, Hassan Piker is a socialist. But Asmongold is more like right-winger on Twitch, you can say. Like he has to toe the line a lot. Like you can notice that he is trying to be very say-so. However, he is also advocating for, we need more lewdness in games. I don't like the decision that these he's more like a gaming commentator, if you will, and he doesn't like the prudish thing in video games. But yeah, I don't know if it's actually connected to the Pelosi family, but basically all of these very high popular Zoomer celebrities seem to be working for this talent agency, which is connected to Disney and Amazon. All right, like let's put it like that. So we got Mr. Beast, we got Hassan Piker, we got Nekolul, we got I think Pokimane. I'm not sure. I'll have to check. But this is public information, right? So it's not a conspiracy or anything. Like, you can go on LinkedIn and you can look it up. Mr. Beast is a leftist, except when it comes to money. Well, every person, and hello, Midwest Finest, every person that is on Twitch, without exception, is left-wing. Like, there is no way you can be right-wing on Twitch. I mean, they kicked, what's his name, Destiny, right? Like, Destiny is too right-wing for Twitch. They kicked Sticks Hexenhammer. Sticks Hexenhammer doesn't have a single guideline strike on YouTube in all of his years, right? Like, Sticks Hexenhammer is very tame and very safe. He doesn't curse, he doesn't do hate speech, he doesn't do anything like that. But on Twitch, if you're there and you're basically, I don't know, just spewing like things maybe people shouldn't be looting, it's already far right. So why is my camera lens blurry? I will have to fix it. But anyway, right. Disney the grandmommy and Amazon the granddaddy, probably. Well, it doesn't surprise me with Amazon. I mean, they are on Twitch, right? So, hold on. I need to clean the camera lens. It's annoying. Twitch is owned by Amazon, so you don't have to tell me that that they have connections to Amazon. I mean, if you're on Twitch and Amazon tells you to jump, you jump. It's not... Just so you understand just how bad Twitch is compared to YouTube. Because I still think, like, YouTube is one of the least censorious social media platforms. On Twitch, you can get banned for what your chat says. So right now, if I have... I see people doing parentheses in my chat, right? I'm not encouraging you guys to do that, but it's free speech, so do whatever the fuck you want. But, like, if you are on Twitch, I would have to ban you. Because if I don't ban you on Twitch, then I get banned. That's how it works. Like, you're responsible for what your chat says. Like, everything you say, it's considered that I'm endorsing you. Why is this, Look how clean it is, but unfortunately... Why is it sideways? Can I not spin it around? Huh? I can't spin it around. Holy shit. Give me a second. Um, but yeah, so as I was saying on Twitch, everything your chat says it's considered endorsement, and the problem is like you gotta pay moderators. Because the thing is, like if you have a couple of people in the chat, like I have here, I got 125 people, right? It is difficult for me to moderate the chat. I'm not gonna lie, because I would have to constantly keep an eye up, right? Like when you have like 10 or 20 people, it's very easy to moderate. But when you have like 125, like I have here, it's getting a little bit difficult. Now imagine you got 10,000, or not even that, you got 2,000, like Pipkin Pippa. Well, when you have 2,000 people in the chat, you need to pay moderators because the chat is going 100 miles per hour. And they have to literally just go line by line and read and see if anyone said anything offensive. Anyway, right. Besides that, what else? I see American Outlier here and I wanted to tell him something. They are banning artists on Twitter. Right? So this is something that I found very weird because a lot of the Japanese artists that I follow, I couldn't find them anymore. Like I had to, like I would type their Twitter handle, and there were no search results. So in order to go onto their page, I had to go on Google, type in their handle, press enter, and that's how I would find them. So turns out that Twitter is now banning not safe for work, right? So if you post any boobies or anything like that, you're going to get banned from the search engine. There we go. So if you want to get unbanned, the solution is for other people to look at your to look at their settings and turn on safe search off. But the thing is, like they never said this, so people just don't know, right? It is just very upsetting because I'm friends with a lot of artists, and there's even an ex Marvel comic book artist by the name of Rainy Draws, and she's got like this really cool comic book called Fiendish. And she posted a couple of things from her friends, like she retweeted. And we're talking about comic book art. We're not talking about like degenerate stuff or anything. You know, like you have this barbarian that doesn't have loincloth over her booba. So they got shadow banned, and once you're shadow banned, you can't get unshadow banned. So you need to be very careful, American Outlier and everyone else that's using Twitter. You need to be very careful because you can get shadow banned and you're losing your account. Like if people can't find you, and I'm talking about like even if they post exactly word for word, letter for letter, your name in the search engine, it doesn't come up. So yeah, don't post booba on Twitter anymore, even if it's cartoon. Hello, Totokaka. Also, what did Coconut Tackle ask me? If I'm in Australia? I'm not. Yeah, there's like a massive crackdown on lewd for some reason. I don't know why it's happening, but it's like the Christians are back in charge. Yeah, I don't think like Elon banned them because he wanted to. I think like these rules came up from the payment processors. Like right now, Elon wants people to be able and get money from their subscribers. So, like for example, if you're an artist, you could use Twitter like you're using Pixiv. If you're a content creator, you can post something on Twitter and people will pay you money for it, you know, to see it. It's kind of like Patreon basically, but you know, just people paying you for doing stuff. It's a good business idea that Elon is having, but I assume like the payment processor said like, no, you need to cut down on the lewd. So the problem isn't necessarily that he's cutting down on it. The problem is that the rules are ambiguous and they're applied stealthily. Like people just don't know. So it is what it is. But yeah, the vagueness of the rules is annoying. Hello, Paul Vantage. Welcome to the show. the cross will rise again. It's very bizarre, right? Because there's no public outcry about lewdness. Like there is less public outcry about lewdness now than it used to be like 10 years ago. And yet you have all of these payment processors declaring like full-on jihad on the anime booba. I don't understand. It's bizarre, right? And the gaming companies are the same. Like you would have more smut in Fallout 2 than you have now in a modern AAA title. Why is that? I've no clue. I've no idea. But it's upsetting because some of these artists are my friends, and it's ruining their livelihood because they invested time and effort into building up their Twitter community, and not even a heads up, not even anything. Like if they knew that Twitter is not welcoming for them, they could have chosen another place to do business. If it's the payment processors, they will put the squeeze on Pixiv as well. It really depends though on the legislation that the company has its headquarters in, right? So like for example, from what I know, if you're in Japan, a payment processor can't discriminate against your company unless they ban the whole of Japan. So like someone explained it to me, but basically like if your company is based in certain countries, it can get away with more stuff than if it's based in California, right? So it really depends on where you're doing business. Brittany Venti is also saying it's pedo to like Gura. Well, Brittany Venti can say a lot of shit. I don't care what she has to say. If she wants to declare jihad against the what is it, like 3 million views VTuber, like she can. I'm rooting for her. You mean how 20 years or so ago a picture of a girl in underwear spread around was an effort to set girl, but nowadays the same picture is sold for $10? No, it's more like back then it was considered unchristian to have like anything lewd, right? So you had like a lot of comic books that were being edgy. I think like it was called Heavy Metal. There was a comic which literally just had very pretty depiction of women with heavy gratuitous violence going on, right? Like Vampirella, another example. Like basically the content creators were giving the middle fingers to the moral busybodies, and they were like, no, like this is what the public wants. Like the public wants tits and violence. We're going to give it to the public. But now, unfortunately, that's not what's happening. I'd rather deal with the Christian right than the leftists on Twitter. You're just saying that because you don't have Christian rightists anymore. But there is a school in Florida, I made a video about it, which banned Assassin Classroom or something like that, right? Which is a comedy anime about a teacher, which is like the world's finest assassin, and he's asking for his students, which are assassins as well, to assassinate him. Right? It's nonsensical. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But the moral busy moms, they were like, no, we need to ban this comic book. And of course they haven't read it, right? Like, I'm willing to bet they haven't opened and read a single issue. But it's just the title. Heavy Metal Magazine, you mean? A great source of graphic novels, back issues will sell on eBay. Yes. And they cocked, by the way. Like, Heavy Metal Magazine, from what I understand, got in a recent controversy because they started covering up their ladies. And their entire selling point was tits and violence, and they got rid of the tits. It's kind of like McDonald's getting rid of the meat, getting rid of the bun that covers the hamburgers. It's like, why would you do that? And when you complain, it's like, oh, well, are you here to eat bread? Go to the bakery and buy bread. It's like, no, but like the whole package used to be like bread and the hamburger. Like, why do you... Or getting rid of the salad. And they would be like, well, what, are you a rabbit? If you want to eat salad, go to the market and buy some salad. Like, you came here, you're going to eat cow meat. Right, it doesn't make any fucking sense, but it is what it is. You want to buy back issues of Heavy Metal. No, what I want to buy is manga. I want to buy manga. You know what I want to buy? I want to buy American Outliers manga. It's really great. He's got some ushikushi ladies. He convinced me, showed me a waifu that I like. My god, the artist that he has a really interesting take on the female anatomy, especially when it comes to the rear. I am not even a man that's a rear connoisseur. Like I'm more into boobas. I think like the booba are the more evolved and graceful form of the buttocks, but American Outliers artist is very interesting when it shows his interpretation on how a female tushy should be drawn. I cannot show on YouTube though. I mean, I could, but I don't know. So if I don't know, then I err on the side of caution. Even with my game, it's dangerous. I didn't show stuff from my game on YouTube either. V, you are actually searching for Christian manga. There is a Christian manga, which is very beautiful. It's Jesus and Buddha living together. Right? So you got Jesus and Buddha in an apartment, and they're roommates, and they're going through various adventures and dramas. It's a very wholesome manga, though. I love the fact, like, Japanese, you know, like, they will take something, and you think, oh, they're going to make a mockery of it, but they're actually treating it with respect. Like, Jesus acts the same way you'd expect Jesus to act. Buddha acts the same way you'd expect Buddha to act. And they're faced with various hardships. Yeah, that. It's interesting. Like, Japanese people come up with the most bizarre shit. You know why? Because they actually have creative freedom over there. Like, I'm really curious what Americans would come up with, because back in the day when there were, like, I believe it was between the 90s and the early 2000s, when you actually did have the ability to have creativity. And that's when America came up with a lot of interesting stuff. But unfortunately, we don't see that anymore. Hello, Biondo Volante. What else should we talk about? Let me check. Yeah, it is real. Of course it's real. Why would you think that I'm spreading false and dangerous and harmful misinformation? When did I ever lead you astray, huh? When did I ever lead my chat astray? By the way, I asked for someone that can do music for my game. And I did get some people contacting me. One person is going to create a demo for me so I can see if I'm going to hire them. But another individual came up and said that he's been doing this for 15 years. He's a professional. And I forgot to mention, right, because I don't want to waste people's time. Like, I appreciate the fact that you're a subscriber of mine and you're watching my stuff. Like, I'm really thankful for it. But I am one guy, and I'm making this video game out of my own pocket, right? I don't think I can afford someone that's been an expert for 15 years. I'm just saying, you know, like, if you want to do this, not pro bono, because I'm going to pay you, but, like, if you want to do this for, I don't know, the rates that you would charge, like, one person, sure. But, like, I'm not a AAA studio. I'm not going to be able to pay you 10 grand for your music. I'm just saying, you know? Like, I just need, like, and by the way, like, I'm not interested in something grandiose either. Like, I need a loopable 30-second song. Like, that's what I'm trying to get. I'm not interested in hiring an orchestra like Blizzard and doing, like, the grandiose cinematics. I mean, I wish I would be able to, you know? Like, no... I definitely wish I could, but unfortunately, I don't have the money to do it. Well, the game costs around, as I mentioned before, $30,000 or so. So, I'm already having difficulty, but, like, if you come up to me and you're like, well, I'm an expert in the field, I got a PhD in such and such, and it's like, oh, okay. I wish I could work with you. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm humbled. Demo, shukushi. Yeah, they did shadow ban you, didn't they? Like I told you. I need to make a video to let people know. Because, like, at least if you're an artist, now you know and you can just make a new account. Hello, Untrique Apparatus. Welcome to the show. Hire him to make something like John Williams. I mean, there won't be a demo as in the old days, right? Like an early release, or something like that. But there will be more information, like a trailer and something. I actually got a gentleman. Well, actually, I got three gentlemen that were like V. Why don't you make it episodic content? Why don't you just? Because I said like I'm going to have like 50 naughty scenes in it, 50, and they're like, why don't you have 15? Isn't 50 too much? Right? Like why don't you water down the content and sell the rest as DLC? No. Like, why the fuck would I do that? I'm going to make something that I put a lot of soul and effort in to make it a game that I would play myself. I'm not going to milk the customer out of cash. I'm not going to do these bad business practices, which I know they're very popular and they earn you money, but they destroy your brand. You know, like, I generally don't want to do that. I said, no, it's going to have 50 scenes in it. And it's like, well, what if people want more? Well, if people want more, then I'm going to make a sequel. And you know what? The sequel is also going to have 50 scenes in it. Probably more, because then I will have more money. So, no, I'm not going to ask the AI to hire cheap Chinese coders. No. Like, I don't want to do that either. But yeah, no, like, making a demo costs money, so I would rather not. Yeah, no loot boxes, no DLC, no none of that shit. No episodic content, no early access. No. Absolutely not. You're going to get an actual full game that I'm aiming for, like maybe 20 hours gameplay, if possible, for the price of 20 bucks. Okay? If I can do that, I'll be happy. If not, you know, maybe 15 hours gameplay, like something like that. So you can actually feel that you purchased a video game and not just something cheap. The art is better than anything else on the market within that genre. The story and gameplay is there. It's not a visual novel. So, I'm doing my best. But I'm not going to skimp out on anything. Because I'm not going to go on my channel to complain about other companies doing the shit that then I'm going to pull. What are you thinking about it being released? Probably next year. I'm going to aim for like spring next year. Because right now, we're still in the development phase. I mean, the reason I don't have a Patreon now, it's because I've been asked. It's like, why don't you open a Patreon? I want to see that the game is developing to a point at least, so that first of all I have something interesting to show, but secondly, I can always have problems. Like one of the team members can decide to leave, that they don't want to do this anymore, right? And then I don't want to end up taking money from people and saying, well, I can't deliver the project I promised because, let's say, the artist decided to fuck off. You know, this is it. So, yes. It's possible that your game will be illegal in Germany. I will have the game probably censored for the Japanese market with the mosaic stuff. Here's something to help you with the process. American Outlier, you already helped me with the process. Like, I think that you've managed to fund 3 succubi by now. But I do thank you so much. As long as you don't pull a Zoe Quinn or Anita Sarkeesian, I think you would be good. The thing is, you know, a lot of these Kickstarters, let's put it like that, or like, people do have an idea and they want to make a product, but things outside their own circumstance might end up destroying the project, right? So like a team member leaving, I don't know, the bank mortgaging their house or some shit. So I want to make sure that the game is at least half done before I make a Patreon. Like, if that's the case, if I have like a project that's half done, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, well, if a team member leaves, it will suck, but I can still manage to... Because like that's the important thing, you know, like, not upset the customer and the people that believe in your work. But anyway, I'm going to also try to make like a small 6-panel comic to have like a trailer, present the atmosphere and what is going on. But that will be later on. Still, anyway, why would it be banned in Germany? Germany does have like really bizarre legislation. I know the Happy Wheel is banned in Germany, even though You can have it like a Buddhist symbol in a manga. You can have it in a video game. Like, for example, Wolfenstein in Germany doesn't actually have the Nazis as the bad guys. Right? It's as dumb as it sounds, but in Germany, Wolfenstein, you fight against the Order. There's no Happy Wheel. There's no reference to the Nazis. The Führer doesn't look like the Führer. I think like they removed his mustache. So, yeah, like a lot of games have to censor for localized releases. Yeah. You want a succubus to do your taxes? Well, the ones that I have would probably do them very well. It's kind of like Vampire the Masquerade, you know, they're ancient, they've been on Earth for thousands of years, they probably know how to do taxes. Unbased Germany. I do think that Germany did pass a legislation, just to be sure that I'm not inaccurate. They did pass a legislation that... Oh, actually, I can show you something from American Outlier, but unfortunately, he gave me a picture that does not show the Tushy. Because I was talking about the Tushy, but yeah, like he... You know, if he gave me super chats, that does mean that the stream is sponsored by him. All jokes aside, though, I do think that it's looking good. Like I'm not doing this because he's paying me to do it. It's just I wanna. He's got this manga with these ushikushi waifus, and now he's planning to sell figurines. You can't call them toys, huh? Are they action figures? What are they called? I think they're called action figures. I remember this was a big controversy when I grew up. Between like, is it a doll or is it an action figure? But anyway, right. Enrique Paratus, check Discord PM in Athens after stream. Also, real life V is better than the troll. The thing with the troll, like, I tried removing it after a while. But what ended up happening is that, people wanted it back. Hey V, I made you sing Rule Britannia, best 50 pounds I ever spent. I remember that. Can you let Sarga know that this his website's premium site isn't working? I will let him know, thank you. I need to message him. Hold on. Where do I find him? Where is Sarga? Ah, here we go. There. Yeah, like people like the troll, so I guess I'll keep it. They are figurines. Ah, I see. We don't have them in Romania. There's no culture around them. Even if I tried to buy one, I wouldn't be able to. I mean, maybe if you order online. But the Romanian postal system is so atrocious that I decided not to use it anymore. So basically, last time I was receiving a gift from a subscriber of mine, I get a message in my mailbox saying that you need to go to the postal office within 10 days, otherwise we will return it. So I go to the postal office the next day and they say, oh, well, you're 7 days too late. We already returned it. It's like, motherfucker, I just got it in my mailbox yesterday. What the fuck are you talking about? So because of that, I genuinely don't want to get more stuff, especially not from the Americans, because they have to pay in order to ship the thing all the way to Romania. It's expensive. And on top of it, I don't even have a mailbox anymore because I moved to a place which is a gated neighborhood and there's no mailboxes in front of the gate. Because obviously, people use email now. You are exactly right. You should appeal to consumers, like the guys and gals here. I hope they will support the crowdfunding. Maybe I can appeal to the ESG investors. How about that? Huh? Can we do that? I need to diversify my succubi. If you do a second game, it could be about the troll. I will never make a self-insert, but if I would make a second game, it would probably be something safe for work for a change, and I would go with the vibe of Darkest Dungeon. Like, I would actually make a Darkest Dungeon game, because fuck the developers from Red Hook Entertainment, okay? Fuck them all. They made Darkest Dungeon 2 a shit game. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I genuinely, like, don't know why they made the carriage thing. The story isn't as enticing as the first game. The animations look cool, But the thing that you got with the party members bickering and their relationships to one another, which is so fucking random. No, absolutely not. They deserve to have someone like moi come in and make Darkest Dungeon properly, right? Like I genuinely think a spiritual successor to Darkest Dungeon would be great. Like something that has better graphics, something that has more abilities. Like you could have like a deeper and more complex combat system. But I genuinely dislike what they have done to Darkest Dungeon 2. So if I were to ever make a spin-off or a different game, it would be a safe for work game. Maybe that allows lewdness. I have no idea, but still. No, it's not woke. That's not the problem. It's just you can destroy a product without being woke. The main issue is that the game has how should I put it? Darkest Dungeon 1 had a charm to it, right? Like it was very simple to make. The story was interesting in the way it was exposed, and people wanted more of that. But instead, in Darkest Dungeon 2, you don't even get your heroes. You don't get to see your heroes walking on the map. It's just like a couch, a coach that drives the heroes around, and it's not as fun. They have like a really boring mechanic where you have like relationships between characters. So if you played it, you know what I mean. Believe it or not, that's what the players wanted. Well, I'm looking at the sales, and clearly that's not it. Like, there's, I think it's like 20 or 30% of sales numbers from Darkest Dungeon 1. Maybe it's because it's on the Epic Game Store. Maybe, you know, like, people are waiting for the full release, but I doubt it. Like, the way things are going... No mods. Yes, no mods as well. Like, you can't waifu your dungeon. In Darkest Dungeon 1, you can definitely do that, and here you can't. So, check out the Black Reliquary. I know. It's a good game. I'm waiting for it to be fully released and then I'll try it. But same thing, you know, no mods. I guess like people will have to mod it. But anyway, right? What was I going to talk about? Mr. Beast. Yes. So here's the thing with Mr. Beast. I will explain to you the controversy and then you can drag your own conclusions. So, my understanding is that Mr. Beast makes entertainment for a wide audience. And because of that, he doesn't try to be, how should I say, he doesn't try to be political, he doesn't try to be divisive. Like, he just makes very say-so content. Now, a person that is affiliated with Mr. Beast, and apparently it's also a childhood friend of his, recently started looking more and more feminine, to the point where people had to ask what is going on. And the person came out and said, well, I'm now transgender, and I've been taking estrogen for quite a while, and now I identify as trans. Now, the thing is that this individual is married. I think they have children. And a lot of people were concerned about this. You know, they would be like, well, you know, did you take into account all of this? But like, again, if you're a public person and you're talking about your private life, people are going to start to pry. It's why most YouTubers do not talk about their private life to begin with, right? Because... if you're public, especially if you go on Mr. Beast's channel, which has like millions of subscribers, and you start talking about, you know, the fact that you're married, you show pictures, and then you talk about transitioning, like inevitably, some of the people are going to start talking about it. So, of course, Mr. Beast now has to defend their friend. And because of that, because he's, you know, defending the friend, and I believe, like, there was this guy, which had, I think it was like 30 followers on Twitter, and he said something disparaging, right, like something that he doesn't like what Mr. Beast's friend is doing, And Mr. Beast responds to this person trying to ratio him. And I'm thinking, like, motherfucker, like, you have 2 million followers, give or take, and you're trying to ratio a guy with 30 followers? Like, are we at that level? I mean, I'm just saying, you know, like, I understand if you respond to someone that at least has, like, 1,000. But even then, like, if you got, like, millions of, like, you wouldn't even acknowledge them, right? Like, to me, it says that when you're responding to someone that has, like, 3 followers, it tells me that you're fishing for these types of attacks. So that you can be viewed as, look how big of a champion I am for social justice and shit. But the problem with Mr. Beast, though, is that I understand his audience, his demographic is kind of young. So now parents, you know, seeing all of this, they do not approve. And they're not allowing their kids to watch, I guess. Because, like, if you look at the subscriptions, they're dropping significantly. So this is why someone made the video saying that this is a nightmare, right? Like, his friend... for Mr. Beast is a nightmare. He didn't mean like the friend is a nightmare. He's like the situation. Mr. Beast immediately came out and it's like, oh no, he's my friend. But by doing this, he misgendered, which led to another controversy, right? Because this is like the funny thing. Let me see if I can. Alright, here we go. So there was a video. At least this one is made by a YouTuber, right? So it's not a person with 3 followers. And why Chris will soon be a nightmare for Mr. Beast. Now he's not saying that Chris is a nightmare. He's saying that the situation, right? Because if you try to maintain a channel that says so, and you're trying to stay away from anything divisive and controversial, so that right-wingers and left-wingers watch you, the moment you're going to take a side, you're going to eventually alienate the group, right? So this is why it's a nightmare, because now you have to handle this PR. So Mr. B says, this is getting absurd. Chris isn't my nightmare, he's my fucking friend. It's like, yeah, but like, see, you're misgendering. And this is why it's a nightmare, because now there's left-leaning people attacking him for misgendering. Right? Like instead of focusing on your content, instead of like trying to focus on being entertaining, you gotta handle this shit now. You gotta be on Twitter. What is the name of Mr. Beast's channel? Because I want to see if he actually gained or lost subs over this. It's Mr. Beast. Not alright. So see if I can find him. I'm really curious. Apparently on YouTube he's doing well. It's hard to tell because YouTube has YouTube has disabled the ability to see how many subscribers people are getting. But I assume he's losing and gaining, because like if you get plus 1 million, plus 1 million, plus 1 million, plus 1 million, I don't think it's getting like genuinely 1 million followers. I think like it's getting under and over. I have to check. I don't want to say this before I'm sure. I'm also unaware if he streams on Twitch. As I said, I don't follow Mr. Beast. I'm just looking at this and I find it interesting. I find it very omoshiroi. There are 4 lights. It is like the thing that you can tell that these are subscribers of his, that these are followers, and he's attacking some and he's ratioing people which have like 30 followers. But I do understand his positioning, right? Like, if one of your friends and people that you care about is getting attacked, you feel the need to defend them, but by doing so, it affects your business. Kind of like when DSP had to defend his wife, right? So DSP had his wife play video games with him, and there were people in the chat that were sexist towards her because, well, it was the internet, right? And by defending his wife and banning the people that were attacking her, like, it got more people to unsubscribe. It's not that it's something that's unmanageable or that you're going to lose a lot of PR over, but it's something that, preferably it doesn't happen. Uh, the thing with Mr. Beast is that he is getting attacked by the left and the right. Like it's so weird. Like he makes a charity. Because the left attacks him, well, first of all, for misgendering. Like, that's a no-no. But secondly, it's the fact that he donates to charity every single fucking time. Every single time Mr. Beast donates to charity, regardless of what he does. Immediately, the left attacks him. So, he donates a car to a waitress. The left attacks him. He pays for surgery for people to see again. The left attacks him. It's like, the man just can't catch a break. Must have thick skin to be a public figure. Yeah, it depends. Like, the more followers you have, the more difficult it is, right? There are things you can get away with as being a small content creator that you can't when you're big. Like, for instance, I know small content creators that even showed naked pictures on their YouTube channel. Like, drawn naked pictures, and nothing happened to them. But if Mr. Beast was to do it, immediately he would get his account suspended. Why? Because there's more people watching, there's more people recording the footage. So it is what it is. Yeah, I don't think it will affect him much. I think it will go away. It depends how he's handling it. Like, if he keeps attacking his own community, then it's going to affect him more than if he just ignores it and shuts the fuck up. Right? Like, no one is saying, like, don't defend your friend or whatever. But when you start ratioing accounts with 30 followers, when you're telling people to fuck off, then, well... You're just causing a bigger PR disaster. And at the end of the day, you're not changing anyone's mind. You're not, the idea that you're defending your friend. The only person that can defend is the friend itself, which can block and mute people. Like, you cannot just create the internet to be a nice place. And within no one's power, like, the internet is like a storm. It's just, you need to get out of its way. There's too many anonymous people, there's too many burners account, there's too many people that don't give a fuck. Like, you're not going to protect someone's feelings by being mean to your community. Yeah, the damage control should be ignoring it, I definitely understand, and, I mean, he already did what it was needed to do, defended his friend, took an issue and a stance, and that's pretty much it. Like, what more can you do? He generally seems uncomfortable around his friend now. I can't think the energy will be the same in the videos going forward. I have no idea. Like, I don't watch it, but if that's the case, like, if he's actually visibly uncomfortable, then yeah, it would be difficult because he can't just say, well, I don't want to stream with my friend now, because, well, then he's going to be viewed as transphobic. But again, like, I don't know, so maybe he wasn't uncomfortable. Maybe it's just your opinion, A lot of people want to see things that aren't there. All the sharks smell blood in the water. Yeah. Like, you got... see, the real problem with this is that it is the American way to try to tear someone down that's bigger than you. So when you see someone the size of Mr. Beast, if you manage to... Like, there are people who genuinely think that if they manage to get him cancelled, that will make them feel good. So they are going to try various tactics in order to accomplish that. And those people aren't necessarily left-leaning or right-leaning. It's just trolls on the internet. And they do smell blood in the water right now. Like, when Mr. Beast reacts like that, when he goes after small followers' account, when he feels the need to respond to YouTube channels that are literally baiting him into do that, because that's how you get followers on YouTube. You bait someone bigger to respond to you, and when they do, their followers know you're existing. So by doing all of these, it is what it is. His friend definitely has his spot secure. Yeah, it's kind of like Kathleen Kennedy at Walt Disney now, right? Like, or like, what was the name? The milkshake girl at Marvel. Like, you become unfireable at that point. I am curious though. Like, I would want to see a video with him and his friend, because a lot of people are saying that he seems uncomfortable. But again, it is it is very difficult to assess something like that, especially due to the sorry, I was distracted a little bit. Yeah, it is difficult to assess something like that because a lot of people have preconceived notions, right? So like, if you want to see something, you may see something. You know, like if you want to see Jesus in the coffee pot, eventually you might actually see Jesus in the coffee pot. Yeah, Heather Antos was the milkshake girl at Marvel. Yeah, like so basically Heather Antos, this was early stage Marvel when they decided to fire a lot of their professional writers and instead they hired a lot of diversity hires, right? Like a lot of white women and stuff. And you can see that the stories started to suffer. And it kind of makes sense, you know, like if you have a person that's working for 20 years in the business and you replace him with someone that just entered, of course the stories are going to suck. So a lot of people were upset, but anyway, right, this Heather Antos apparently posts a picture with her drinking a milkshake, and she was with a lot of her colleagues, like other diversity hires, right? Like it was like just 10 or 20 women drinking milkshake. And all of a sudden, like, she claims that she's getting harassment, but she doesn't show receipts. Like, I haven't seen her getting harassment. Like, that's the interesting part, right? But there was, like, at this point, there were, like, a couple of YouTube channels that were criticizing comic books. Ya Boy Zach was one of them. Captain Cummings was another. There were a couple of others, but basically, the idea was that these channels are creating communities that are harassing her for posting a milkshake, right? So now you have, like, she shows no receipt, she doesn't say anything. But now you have, like, all these Marvel comic book pros coming out of the woodwork to defend these girls without asking for any evidence. And they're attacking the community, they're attacking the fans. And, you know, by doing this, these girls became unfireable. Because that now, like, you know, it was like, there's sexism in the industry, like, how do we fight against the sexism? So you cannot fire these girls now for any reason, because then you're viewed as a sexist. So that's how Marvel basically like cemented bad story writing. Because at the end of the day, that was the main problem. Like, the story was shit. You know, that's when you got the pregnant Spider-Woman. That's when you got the Women Are Talking, She-Hulk. Like a lot of these very cringe, bad storylines. My favorite was where She-Hulk, she's very upset that she's at a lawsuit where a woman claims to have been harassed by her boss, right? And we don't really know what actually happened, but it wasn't rape, it was just harassment from what I understand. And the judge sentences the boss to a couple of months in prison. So, like, she got the guilty verdict, but she wasn't happy with it because she thinks that the guy should have gotten more. Again, we don't really know what he did, but she intercepts the police car, which was transporting him from the courthouse to jail, punches the police car, basically, like, there's a panel showing that the cops may be dead from the impact, right? Because, like, she's She-Hulk, like, she's an Avenger. And she breaks the law by attacking a police vehicle that's carrying prisoners to go to jail. Rips off the door, takes the guy out, takes the boss out, and forces him to apologize to her client. And again, like, first of all, this is what a villain does. Like, that this is not... I would never imagine Batman doing this. Or Superman, or anyone like that. Right? There is no moral to the story either, because, like, you literally don't know what the guy did. It's like, okay, well, like, sexual harassment at the workplace, it can be anything from spanking her ass to asking her out. Right? Like, and he was getting months in prison for it. So it's not like he was just running away from justice or anything. Right? It's not... And on top of that, like, what the fuck did the cops do? Like, they were just doing their job, transporting a prisoner, and all of a sudden you have, like, this green Hulk girl coming out, bashing their police car, and you can see that they're passed out. Like, you don't know if they just have a concussion or if they died or anything. But like those were the Marvel stories, and a lot of like She-Hulk story was just her talking. Like most of the comic book, like you would buy an issue of comic book, and I saw it's like, okay, but there's like no fucking action at all, and the answer is yes. It was just her talking and talking and talking, and I'm like, who wants to buy this? Like, if you have a comic book, the very essence of a comic book is the battle between the villain and the superhero. Like, all comic books needs to have that. Like, that is the core. If you don't have that, it's not a fucking comic book. It's a visual novel. Right? So, if you don't have, like you can have Lex Luthor robbing a bank and Batman stopping him. That's it. That's a comic book. Right? But in the new Marvel ones, they were very preachy, moralizing. Like, there's another comic. Holy shit. So, the Avengers, they get access to a mutant, which tells them the future. So there's this guy, which apparently gets rejected by a girl, right? Like, he's an incel, I guess. So he gets rejected by a girl, and he wants to play a prank on her by tinkering with the school's fire alarm system, and he manages to accidentally set fire to the school. But, like, this is what the mutant sees in the future, right? So he doesn't do any of that yet. And you have Miss Marvel with her superhero friends breaking into this guy's house. Right? The parents are scared shitless because you have, like, these super mutants breaking into your house. Forcefully taking their son away. Of course, he's a cisgender white straight man. And arresting him in a maximum security prison where he doesn't get a trial, doesn't get anything. And it's kind of, it's really nicely shown how, like, there's female guards at the prison, which look very tough, right? Like, and I'm thinking, like, dude, that's tyranny. Like, even if he was going to commit that, like, first of all, there are other ways that you can diffuse the situation. Like, if you know that someone is going to accidentally do something, all you have to do is to tell them, it's like, don't do that, because it's going to end up bad, right? You can at least, like, wait at the scene and wait for him to do it so that you can, you know, then arrest him for a crime that he has done rather than a crime that he may do. And then, like, again, like, you're taking him in front of the parents. There's no legal proceeding. There's nothing. He doesn't have any rights. The superheroes written by the progressives were worse than fascist. Like, a fascist state writing comic books for its population would probably write superheroes that are less villainous than that. So, the whole moral of the story, because this is the fun part, it's like, okay, so what is the moral of that? Well, the moral of that was that the cis white guy was the friend of Miss Marvel. So, the reason she had difficulty with this, and the reason she was conflicted, wasn't because, like, they were not giving this guy any rights or anything. No, it was because it was her friend. And the moral of the story is that social justice requires you to make difficult sacrifices, and you should not compromise even when your friends are being punished, right? Like, if your friend is being a sexist or your friend does something, you need to act. Like, your friendship is not as important as social justice. That was the message of the comic. And I'm thinking, like, that is such a disgusting thing to say. Like, that is not even something that I would want my kids to learn. You know, like, when I grew up, I watched Double Dragon with Billy Lee, and it was like, never do battle if you can avoid it. You know, like, it was basically like violence should be the last solution. Like, at least try to talk with the person first. But no, like, in the comic book, it's like, fuck it. Just lock them up, you know, be violent. Drag them out of their house while their parents are crying. So that was, like, horrifying. By the way, you know what I noticed is the lack of redemption in Western comics. Like, there is no more redemption anymore. So, there was, perfect example. In Japan, you have redemption. You got, what's his name? Endeavor. Endeavor from, My Hero Academia. So, Endeavor is a wife beater. He's, like, one of the worst characters imaginable. Very brutal as a father, right? Motherfucker gets a redemption arc. Like his whole goal was to become the world's first superhero. And because he couldn't do it, he wanted his son to be like, is the type of toxic parent that can't achieve something, but like then wants his son to achieve it. You know, like he wants to live his dream through his son. Like I really hate this type of parenting, by the way. But it exists. So anyway, right. Eventually the world's top superhero manages to lose his power. So Endeavor becomes the world's first superhero, and now he realizes, okay, but like because I'm the world first, I have responsibility. So it's not just like a like a popularity contest. Now that I'm the world's first superhero, I need to act on it. And he actually sacrifices himself in order to defend others. And he has to give it his best, makes amends with his family. You would never see that in a Western entertainment thing, right? Like you don't have the concept of redemption. Like there are things that are irredeemable in the West. But anyway, right? It is lonely at the top. Yeah, that is true. There were so many interesting themes going on there, and a lot of things to talk about. This is why manga is good, right? 'Cause, you know, it's over the top. Sure, it's not realistic. Fine. But there are just so many things you can discuss. And like there were so many things going on there, and the character was so complex. But it is what it is. Every Lifetime movie plot, his son gets kidnapped, mom turns into a superhero. I see. Well, bipedal species, you're late, because I was just about to go out. So, anyway, right, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the donations. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.